During Thanksgiving my aunt stood up and declared, "You're a parasite who leeches off this family's success." I chuckled, served myself more turkey, and said, "Funny coming from someone living in my property." My cousin sneered, "You think you're so important, you're nothing but a lucky loser." I leaned back, smiled sweetly and said, "And I'm the fluke holding the paperwork that owns your future." My uncle muttered, "You think money makes you untouchable, you'll die alone just like your parents." I didn't flinch. That evening I liquidated every investment, the accounts they depended on frozen, and the life they mocked me for funding was gone. They thought I'd just walk away. They never imagined the nightmare I'd orchestrated. So if this is just me venting, or if anyone else has had a family Thanksgiving, get this weird, but here goes. If you're here for happy family stuff, just scroll LOL first. Off context, yeah, it's my house, I got it after my folks passed. Not going to overshare, not trying to trauma dump, but it's been just me for a while, except well, I let my Aunt Teresa, Uncle Robert and their daughter my cousin Joanna move in like 2 years ago when their place got sold out from under them. They were between situations and it seemed like the right thing. I'm not a monster, they pay rent, but it's like not even half what a normal place here would cost. I cover a lot of the bills, groceries, internet, most of the house stuff, because whatever, their family, and it's not like I have crazy expenses, but lately it's just gotten weird. Little things like my cousin acting like this is her house, bossing me around about chores or telling me to not be so loud in the room I own. And then my aunt, she's always making these little digs like some people just land on their feet and not everyone's so lucky with family money. Uncle Robert is mostly quiet, just sits in the den with his phone, only pops up to complain if the Wi-Fi lags or the thermostat isn't set right. I've been letting it slide mostly because it's more awkward to call out, and I keep telling myself it's temporary. But anyway, this Thanksgiving, so I offered to host, obviously, since it's my house and there's a huge dining table, plenty of space, and I figured it'd be less stressful than going to some restaurant or whatever. I bought the turkey, all the sides, even did those little pumpkins for decoration, because last year my aunt went on about how nobody sets a proper table anymore. My cousin mostly sat on the couch scrolling on her phone, didn't help much except to taste test the mashed potatoes red, eat half the bowl before dinner. My aunt kept hovering, not actually helping but telling me to watch the gravy, don't overcook the beans, whatever. I just tried to zone out and get through it. Okay, so here's where it gets weird. We're eating kind of small talk, my aunt sipping her wine and getting that look she gets when she wants to say something but is waiting for an audience. My cousin's texting under the table, uncle's picking at his food. Then totally unprompted my aunt just straight up stands up, puts her glass down, not gently like she wanted to make a point, and says in that voice she uses when she's about to make a statement, "You know, the one." She goes on about how some people in this family have never had to work for anything and it's shameful the way people just leech off of others' hard work. I'm just sitting there with the turkey in my mouth like, what the actual hell? Then she looks dead at me and says, "You're a parasite who leeches off this family's success." And I actually just laughed, couldn't help it. I said, "Funny coming from someone living in my property." She rolls her eyes. My cousin snaps her phone shut and goes, "You think you're so important, you're nothing but a lucky loser." I'm not going to lie, it got loud real fast. I didn't even try to keep it cool, I just sat back, smiled and said, "And I'm the fluke holding the paperwork that owns your future." Uncle Robert, who hadn't said a word all night, just mutters under his breath, "You think money makes you untouchable, you'll die alone just like your parents." I didn't even react. I know he's always been bitter about my folks leaving me the house. He used to say weird stuff about it even before they passed. My aunt smirks like she's finally won. My cousin actually applauds, so I just stood up, stacked my plate and left the table. I heard my aunt say something about "See, can't even take criticism." My cousin slammed her chair back, stormed into the kitchen and started ranting about how some people just get everything handed to them. Uncle Robert just went back to scroll. I went to my room, just sat on the edge of the bed for not even mad, just numb, I guess. Then I looked at the files I keep in my desk drawer. Yeah, I keep all the paperwork in there, the deed, the rental agreement, the bank statements, and I just thought, why am I letting them treat me like this? I paid the gas bill last week. I paid for my cousin's busted phone screen last month. I've been covering for them since they moved in. I thought about my parents, how they would have lost their minds if they saw this, and I just started pulling stuff out of them, making a pile, not even thinking, just angry, like really angry, like I wanted to throw something. But I just started organizing. I texted my friend Aaron, he's the only one who ever really gets it, and told him what happened. He just said, "Dude, if you're this pissed, do something." So I did. I started looking up the joint accounts, the stuff my aunt and uncle borrow from every month, sat at my laptop, logged in and stared at the balances. I didn't do anything yet, just sat there thinking, why am I always supposed to be the bigger person? Why shouldn't I just stop Meanwhile in the kitchen I could hear my cousin yelling at my aunt that this house is a dump anyway and my aunt saying she never wanted to live here in the first place. I just kept organizing. I could hear doors slamming, my cousin stomping around. It felt like everyone was daring me to actually do something for once, so yeah, that's where I left it. My aunt called me a parasite in my own house. My cousin tried to act like she's somehow better than my uncle, same old resentful crap, and now I'm sitting here with every bit of paper that says this place is mine, every statement that shows who's been paying for what. Not going to just let it go this time. They want to fight, fine, I'm done being the backup plan. I guess I'll post an update if anything else happened. Not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I know for once I'm not just going to take it. Stay tuned, I guess. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everyone whose family isn't trying to start a civil war over dinner. Update 1. So yeah, it's only been a couple days since I posted about my Aunt Teresa, Uncle Robert and Cousin Joanna basically trying to roast me at my own Thanksgiving table in my own house that they live in, mostly on my dime. I thought maybe things would cool off after that, but nah, they doubled down. It's actually wild how fast people show their true colors when you stop making their life comfortable. First weird thing, I woke up the morning after Thanksgiving like 8 a.m., barely slept, and heard banging in the kitchen. Joanna was slamming drawers and muttering that there was no oat milk and someone finished the cold brew. I came out to find her in my hoodie, not even hers, and she just glared like I was the problem. Teresa was on the phone in the living room talking loud on speaker about how some people are so ungrateful after everything we've done for them. She wanted me to hear it. Uncle Robert just sitting on the couch scrolling, not even pretending to say good morning, not a single word about the night before, not an apology, nothing, just this tension in the air like they were waiting for me to say sorry for ruining Thanksgiving. So I just went back to my room, shut the door and opened all the bank tabs I'd left open the night before. I stared at the auto payments for the shared accounts, utilities, groceries, the Venmo I set up for household stuff that was always mysteriously empty even though I was the only one putting money in. I went through the stack of receipts and rental docs I'd organized, kind of petty I know, but I was done. I just started canceling stuff, paused the auto transfers to the family account, removed my card from their food delivery app, emailed the property management company to start the formal eviction process. Not fun but necessary. I own the place and they're technically on a month-to-month rental at this point, all in writing, no loopholes for them to wiggle through. Changed the Wi-Fi password, put a note on the fridge that said house meeting tonight 7 p.m. mandatory. For the first time in years I didn't feel bad about it. Like I said, I'm not here to be the backup plan anymore. Stuff got weird fast. Teresa found the fridge note around noon and immediately started texting me in all caps about how this is not how family treats each other and we'll talk when you're ready to be civil. Uncle Robert said nothing, but he started pacing the hallway and slamming doors. Joanna posted on her close friends story, yeah, I saw it. My friend showed me that she lives with a psycho landlord. I didn't respond, I just waited for the meeting. 7 p.m. comes, I'm in the kitchen, they all file in like I'm about to hand out detention slips. I said, look, I'm done covering your bills, you're on a real lease now and you'll pay real rent next month, full market rate, or you're out. Thesa instantly starts crying, like actual tears, saying I'm ripping the family apart. She said they sacrificed so much when my parents died that I owe them. I said I paid your rent, bought your groceries, fixed your car, replaced your phone, paid every bill, what exactly do I owe? She just started yelling, got up in my face, called me a selfish brat. Uncle Robert said I was cold and just like your father, he always does that, brings up my dad like it's some trump card. I said, you want to live here, you pay your share starting now. Joanna just muttered that she never wanted
to live here anyway. She tried to push past me to get to her room, shoulder checked me, I didn't move, she went upstairs and slammed her door. I handed Uncle Robert the printed lease papers, told him he had a week to sign and transfer funds or they'd get a formal eviction notice. He grabbed the papers, tossed them on the counter, and said, you're bluffing. Teresa tried to slap them out of my hand, hit my wrist. Instead, I just walked away, told them I'd talk when they were ready to act like adults. After that, it got colder. Nobody spoke to me, unless they had to. They started making their own meals, leaving messes in the kitchen, blasting music, slamming doors, trying to make me uncomfortable in my own house. Joanna brought her boyfriend over, who I can't stand. He's one of those guys who aloasisks what you do for a living and then tries to own up. They sat in the living room watching some reality show way too loud. I just put on headphones and ignored it. I'm not going to let them win by making me leave my own space. Next day, Teresa went around calling all the extended family, my mom's Sisters, my cousins in 2 other states telling everyone. I'd thrown them out and cut them off. I started getting texts. Some people were like, "What's going on?" Others took her side, calling me selfish. I just started sending screenshots off the counts. Receipts, payment logs, I said. Ask them how much they've actually paid. I'll wait. Funniest thing, a couple family members actually apologized to me, said they didn't know it was like that. Most just stopped replying, Uncle. Robert tried to threaten me with some legal action, but I pointed at the lease, said, "You sign or you leave, I don't care anymore." He said, "You'll regret this." I said, "Maybe, but not as much as I regret letting you walk all over me for 2 years. Joanna came to me that night, tried to play nice, said she needed more time to find another place, offered to pay something for. The next month, I said full rent or you move out. She called me a jerk, pushed past me in the hallway, texted her mom that I was being impossible. I heard Teresa on the phone with someone crying and saying I was destroying her life. I just turned up the TV. The mood in the house now is unreal. Every time I walk into a room, Sumian leaves. Every meal is eaten in silence or with muttered insults. Teresa tried to cook one night, burned the chicken, blamed me for messing with the oven. Uncle Robert left his dirty dishes in the sink like I was going to clean up after him. I just put them in a box and left them outside his door. He slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. I'm not sure what comes next, but I'm not backing down there. On notice, either pay up or get out, and if they think guilt trips or family drama are going to work, this time they're about to learn the hard way, not going to be the family doormat anymore. I'll update if they actually do something, but for now, I'm just keeping receipts and waiting them out. If you've ever had to evict your own family, let me know what to expect, because this is already a circus anyway. Not looking for advice, just needed to get it out. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. Update 2. So here's the next round for anyone who actually cares about this mess. It's been about a week since I told my Aunt Teresa, Uncle Robert, and Cousin Joanna they were either paying full rent or getting out. I figured they'd start packing. Maybe try to negotiate, but no, these people are not going quietly. First weird thing. I noticed my stuff going missing. Not big stuff, just petty stuff. My phone charger, the bottle opener from the kitchen, even my socks. I found a pair in Joanna's laundry pile. She said I was paranoid and that it was just a mistake. Teresa started leaving passive-aggressive notes around the house. Stuff like, "Please remember, family comes first, and some people should be grateful for what they have." She put one on my bathroom mirror with a smiley face. Robert was suddenly fixing things in the house. He tightened a cabinet hinge, then started telling people loud enough for me to hear how none of this would work without him. Literally nobody asked him, and yeah, the group chat. Joanna went full drama queen, sending screenshots of the fridge note to every cousin on my mom's side, telling everyone I was kicking them out for no reason. I got like 5 texts from people I haven't seen since college asking me if it was true I was homeless. Me own family when I sent receipts. Actual receipts like Venmo logs and utility bills. Most of them just stopped replying. One cousin said, "Wow, I had no idea," and then liked my message, but it didn't stop there. I came home on Tuesday night and the Wi-Fi was down. Turns out Joanna unplugged the router by accident, then tried to hide it behind the couch. I asked where it was. She said maybe you should pay for a better plan. I plugged it back in, changed the password again, so then Teresa started guilt tripping me in person. She'd find me making coffee and go off. How she gave up everything to help after my parents died. How she was just trying to keep the family together. She said if I really loved them, I wouldn't do this. I told her I'm not your retirement plan. She slapped the counter and stormed off. A day later, I get a knock from a neighbor, Mrs. Lee. Older lady, likes to garden, always friendly. She asked if everything's okay, because she heard yelling and some doors slamming. I told her just a family thing, nothing dangerous. She said, just checking, because she noticed Joanna and her boyfriend dumping boxes in the backyard last night. I went out back and found a bunch of my old stuff, yearbooks, photos, some kitchen stuff just dumped in the rain. I brought it back in, tossed it in the hallway outside their room. That's when Robert shoved past me. Said, "I was making a scene," I said. "You're the one trashing my stuff." He shoved me back. I didn't back down, just stared at him. He muttered something about spoiled brats and slammed his door. I started documenting everything, took photos of the boxes, started a written log of every weird thing they did, not because I want to call the cops or anything. I'm not that guy, but because I don't trust them at all now, and I'm not getting stuck with some he said, she said situation if this gets legal. I called the property manager to ask if they could do a walkthrough. Just to have a third party on record. They said sure, but to give her to notice, so I wrote up a notice and taped it to their door. Walkthrough on Saturday, be ready. Joanna lost it. She came into the kitchen, phone in hand, yelling that I had no right, that I was harassing her. I told her, "You're a tenant now, not a guest, and this is standard." She tried to push past me again. I didn't move. She went outside and started screaming at her boyfriend on her phone. Teresa, meanwhile, started calling every relative again, telling them I was invading her privacy. I got a call from my Aunt Mary, my mom's other sister, who actually wanted to hear my side this time. I laid it out how much I paid, how long they've been here, every time they've sabotaged stuff or refused to pay. Mary said, "Honestly, you've done more than enough. You don't owe them anything." First time, I felt a little less like the villain. The walkthrough was awkward as hell. Property manager came around noon, clipboard in hand. Super polite, but clearly uncomfortable. Joanna stayed in her room, blasting music. Robert followed us around, arms crossed, making sarcastic comments about everything. Teresa tried to make small talk, but then started crying again halfway through, saying she never wanted things to be like this property. Manager just nodded, wrote stuff down, and left after that. It got even pettier. They started leaving dirty dishes everywhere, turning off lights, accidentally locking me out of the bathroom. Joanna posted on her story that she was being abused by a control-freak landlord. I ignored it, but then 2 nights ago I came home and my bedroom door was locked. I never lock. Turns out Joanna tried to redecorate my room. She moved my bed, dumped my clothes on the floor, took down my poster. I confronted her, and she just shrugged, said maybe if I was nicer people wouldn't hate living here. I said, "You have a week left." She laughed. Robert looked me in the eye and said, "You'll regret this." I said, "Not as much as you'll regret staying." I started packing up their kitchen stuff, putting it in boxes, stacking it by the door. Teresa slapped my hand away when I tried to move her coffee mate. I said, "You're leaving, start acting like." They all went silent for the rest of the night. Next morning, I woke up to a group text from Teresa. "I hope you're happy you've lost your family." I didn't reply. I'm not going to be guilted into another 2 years of this right now. The house is like a war zone. Every little thing is a fight. If they want to treat me like the villain, fine. I'll be the villain. I'm not walking away from my own life. 1 week left. Let's see if they actually leave without another scene. I'll update again when they're gone, or if they make it even messier. Final update. So it's finally over, or as over as this kind of thing gets. I keep reaching for my earbuds, just to drown out the ghost noise, like I'm still expecting to hear doors slamming or someone yelling about oat milk. House is dead quiet anyway. Here's how the last week went down, since people keep diming me asking if I actually went through with it. First thing I noticed, Monday morning Aunt Teresa was up at 6 o'clock a.m. making coffee, which she never did before, and she kept clinking her mug super loud, like weirdly loud. I came into the kitchen and she didn't say a word, just watched me the whole time like I was supposed to break first. Uncle Robert was in the driveway FaceTiming, someone pacing up and down, being loud on purpose. I could hear him through the closed window. Joanna was in her room, door open, playing the same tick-tock sound on repeat, over and over. Whole house felt tense, like everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see who would blink. I started moving their boxes to the hallway. Not touching anything personal, just all the junk that's technically theirs kitchen. Stuffed board games, those ugly throw blankets my aunt loves. I left their mail on top, so there was no way they could say I lost something. Teresa tried to block me. In the hallway, stood right in my way and said, "So this is it, huh?" I just said, "Yeah, this is it." She slapped my arm. I didn't react, just kept moving. Boxes. Robert walked past, shoulder, checked me, muttered, "You'll regret this," and slammed the front door so hard the mail slot rattled. Joanna didn't even come out. She just posted one last story about how her psycho cousin was ruining her life, then locked herself in her room. The property manager came by for the final walkthrough. At noon, I made sure to be there and had all the paperwork out. Teresa tried to talk her way out of it. At the last minute started crying, said she didn't know where they'd go, and I could never understand what it feels like to be abandoned by your own. I told her, "You're not abandoned, you're just not my responsibility." She called me heartless. Robert started yelling, threatened to call some housing rights group, but the manager just pointed out the agreement and asked for their keys. They handed them over. Joanna dragged her suitcase out, didn't look at me, just put in her AirPods and walked out. Thesa hugged her and started sobbing in the driveway. I just watched from the window, Uncle. Robert slammed the car trunk, drove off with the tires squealing. I didn't wave after they left. I spent like an hour just walking from room to room. They didn't wreck the place, but they left trash everywhere. Fridge open, half a bag of groceries dumped on the floor, all the lights left on. I went into Joanna's room to check for damages and found a pile of my stuff shoved into her closet, my old Nintendo, some hoodies, the box of photos from high school she'd drawn on the mirror, and dry erase mark. Karma hits losers to whatever. I took the stuff back, wiped the mirror, locked the door, pinned me for the first time in years. The fallout started pretty much immediately. Teresa went nuclear in the family group chat, sent like 8 paragraphs about how I destroyed the family legacy and shamed my parents' memory. She called my other Aunt Mary, who texted me to say, "Just lay low, people will get bored." Robert sent me a long email, threatening to take this public if I didn't make things right. I just archived it. Word got around. I started getting weird texts from random cousins, some saying they're disappointed, some asking for my side. The couple who were just curious if the rumors were true had one uncle, not blood married in, who called to say, "Honestly, you did what you had to do. Nobody else was going to push back. Most people just stopped inviting me to stuff, at least for now. I'm not expecting a Christmas card from anyone on that side." The only thing I did expect, my mom's old friend Patricia DM'd me out of nowhere like, "Hey, heard what happened. If you ever want to talk about your folks, I'm around." Guess people know more than they let on. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will, not sure. So now it's just me. First night, I made dinner for myself, sat in the kitchen, and realized I could actually hear the clock ticking. I cleaned up without having to pick up anyone's trash, washed a single plate, put on music loud, nobody to complain, slept with my door open. Next day, I changed the locks just in case people keep asking if I regret it. I don't, not even a little. I'm not looking for anyone's approval. I just want my life back. They made their choices. They thought I'd just let it slide forever, like I was always going to be the backup plan, the soft spot. Not anymore. I know some people are waiting for a big happy ending or a family reunion, but that's not what happened. What happened is I stood my ground, and now I'm dealing with the fallout. Maybe it's quieter, maybe it's lawnier, but at least it's finally mine. That's it. Not looking for sympathy or advice, just didn't want to leave people hanging. If you're still reading, thanks. Maybe next post will be about something less miserable. But for now, I'm just enjoying the silence anyway. That's how it ended. Not a neat ending, not some big win, just done.